Today I would like to review the book 0 to 1. The book is written by Peter Thiel. He is a billionaire entrepreneur and he is the co-founder of PayPal with Elon Musk. I had read Elon Musk. This was also a very interesting book, and when I see this one, I just picked this book because he is the co-founder of PayPal and he worked with Elon Musk. In this chapter, there are many ideas about business and how to start, how to be an entrepreneur. And the concept what the Peter Thiel brings here, it is totally different in the conventional beliefs. That is why this is the importance of the book. There are 14 chapters in this book. Even the names of the chapters are attractive. The first chapter is Challenge of the Future, and the second one, Party Like It's 1999. All happy companies are different. The ideology of competition, last mover advantage, you are not a lottery ticket, follow the money, secrets, foundations, the mechanics of Mafia. If you build, will they come? Man and machine, seeing green, the founder's paradox. These are the 14 chapters. The challenge of future. In the challenge of future, he describes very clearly what is a challenge and how to be 0 to 1. The main, I would like to read something here from here. Every major moment in business happens one time only. The next Zuckerberg won't build a social network, and the next Larry Page won't build a search engine. Your best bet then is to learn the mindset of going from 0 to 1. No, he very clearly he says in this book that we want to change the mindset and not copy what the billionaires did. That is very clear. That is the main thing he is bringing into the picture. That is, we want to change the mindset. Do not copy what the previous billionaires has done. Horizontal, that is 0 to 1. The meaning of 0 to 1, we need a straight vertical growth, not horizontal growth. Uh, Now there is a globalization and everything, and all the companies we start in India or in China or anywhere else, we just copying Google or Apple or like that. Now, what companies has succeeded, what the successful companies did, that we just copy. It's a horizontal growth, and we are trying to make our society also to the same standards of US standards. If this growth go through in this way, this is the future challenge. Because if you go in a horizontal growth, this is not a growth, this is not the future. This is very clearly he says vertical is not easy. We need a just vertical growth. We want to change our mindset, we want to find out something new, then we want to jump into the future with very clear ideas. Here he said, vertical is not easy to do, and it means finding new paths that nobody had explored. Peter Thiel says that globalization is a horizontal change, taking that works in one place and replicating it somewhere else. China want to be and to do as the United States does. But without radical change in technology, the world cannot sustain billions of people living with the same standard of US. That is very clear. If all the people want to live in the same standard of US, the present technology and the present things are not enough for them. Then we want to jump into new technologies and new startups. And startups, what I say, it is the new thinking. A startup most valuable asset is a new way of thinking. What a startup must do is question ideas and rethinking business. This is the summary of Challenge the Future, the chapter 1. Chapter 2 is Party Like 1999. Peter Thiel says that the dot-com bubble taught entrepreneurs four fake big lessons. Most of you know about the 1999 and 2000, the burst of dot-com and the fall of these businesses. At that time, we learned something. Do not jump. What we learned at that time was make incremental advances. The only safe path. That is the safe path. That is what we are believing. We need to make incremental changes. Stay lean and flexible. Improve on the competition. Don't try to enter new markets prematurely. Focus on product, not sale. If you need to sell, your product is not good. Still says the opposite is true. Means we believe that if we want to focus in the products, if the products are good, people will come and purchase it. This was our belief, and also do not make. We want to make incremental changes. Peter Thiel is completely against that one. He says better to take risk, boldness, and triviality. A bad plan is better than no plan. Stay away from competitive markets. They destroy profits. Matters as much as the product. Sales is he's saying not do not focus only in the product. Sales is also equally important, like making a product. You can see this book as if when you go through this book, we can see that thinking small is nobody's problem in these days. That is also what he is saying here. Do not think big. 10x and have actually become the new norm. Possibly 0 to 1 helped shape this culture. Chapter 3. Next chapter 3 is all happy companies are different. Peter Thiel talk in this chapter about monopolies and perfect competition. Monopoly though means something different. Maybe you think what is monopoly? Monopoly is a company doing something so good that nobody else can offer a close substitute. Google is such an example of a company achieving monopoly for having gone from 0 to 1. He promotes monopoly companies and not supporting competitions. Monopolies want to look non-dominant and weak by defining their market broadly. Normal companies want to look unique. Basically, they do the opposite. Monopoly companies define their market broadly and say they are in tough competition because they don't want to unwanted attention from regulators. Business in a competitive market instead define their market very narrowly so they can dominate it. Monopolies are good companies. Thiel says monopolies are the best companies in the world. Since they don't have to worry so much about profit, they can allow themselves to treat their employees well, to invest in new helpful technologies, and to fund social projects. It's the companies in a perfect competition that are the most cutthroat business instead. All happy companies are different because they solved a unique problem or came up with unique life-changing product. All failed companies instead are the same. None of them came up with a great new product. So very interesting because always we believe like all successful companies are same and failed companies are different. But here he says all successful companies are different because they find out solution to unique problems. And failed companies they fail because they can't find solution for any of the problems. That is why they are failed companies. That is the summary of this chapter. The chapter name is All Happy Companies Are Different. Here is a saying like we will say like a family. All happy families are same and unhappy families are different. But he says all happy families because they want to solve different problems. The fourth chapter is ideology of competition. Thiel says it's just economists who frown over monopolies and love competition. It's our society that has embraced the competition ideology. Our education system is based on competition and business love war references. In business also we will say like sales task force or kill, make a kill, that type of words we are using in, because it's a competitive market, because we always refer, even from the school days we learn in that way. The author says that the war start for trivial reason and keep going without any real reason. Microsoft vs Google is such an example, taking on each other with a myriad of competing products. Until Apple came along and focused on innovating instead of battling and made a killing. Thiel says competition is a destructive and distracting force instead. Better to make alliance instead, like he did with former competitor Elon Musk to build together PayPal. This is the fourth chapter, ideology of competition. He supports do not compete. Find out new ideas and bring with new ideas. Do not compete, and that will destroy your business. That is the essence of this chapter. And the fifth one is last mover advantage. Short-term profit-making culture pervades many startups. He says the most fundamental question instead is, will this business still be around 10 years from now? Numbers alone can't tell you the answers, but you have to think critically about your business. He says that there's no sure way to build a monopoly, but each monopoly shares four characteristics. Proprietary technology. Great tech improving on the past is order of magnitude. Network effects. When so many people use a product, the sale tips and everyone joins. Economies of sales. Monopoly business gets stronger, growing bigger. Not the case for service businesses. Branding. A brand should embody an ideology. Disruption. Peter Thiel says disruption has become a buzzword for everything that wants to sound trendy and new. He says that the disruption mind is silly and counterproductive. When you call yourself disruptive, you look at yourself through the eyes of other companies that become older and the enemies. But your act of creation should be the focus, not disrupting and upsetting this or that industry. Don't disrupt, add value, and avoid competition. In this chapter, also the main point is that one, do not disrupt and value, add value, and avoid competition. Add value to your business and avoid competition. The chapter number 6, you are not a lottery ticket. This is a very small chapter. Here he describes about the luck. He never agree about the luck, because we have sometimes we believe it is his luck. If some business succeed, we will say it is his luck. Peter Thiel here talk about luck and its role in business success. He says the phenomenon of successful serial entrepreneurs calls into question the luck logic. Means there are serial successful entrepreneurs, they always getting successful in business. That means there is no luck is not a factor in business. The chapter number 7 is follow the money. This says that anyone without a salary or stock option in misaligned with the company interests. Part-time employees and external consultants don't work because they don't have aligned interests. They don't really have the best future of the company at heart. Great. This is a great insight on aligning interests. This is one of the basics of the healthy cynics approach and of enlightened win-win. Even remote workers should be limited, as it's easy to misalign without daily face-to-face. The hiring decision should be binary, either fully or broad or not. Another interesting trend the author found, which was illuminating for it is for illuminating, was that the less the company pay its CEO, the better it does. Too high salary makes CEO behave more like politician busy defending and the status quo. A slow salary also sets an example for the rest of the company. The eighth chapter is secrets. I love this chapter because I found it is very interesting. Peter Thiel says, in his world, in this world, most people don't think there are many secrets left to discover. This is actually it happened in my case also because when I studied Columbus discovered America and we found there is nothing to discover more and everything has finished. But he says the truth is there are countless secrets left to be found and countless problems left to be solved. The ninth chapter is foundations. You will always make mistakes, but a few things you better get them right at the beginning. The foundation. It is a very important chapter. He describes about how to be the foundation of a company. The author says, indeed, that early mistakes are often very costly. The constitution hardly ever changed, even though an update would be beneficial. Similarly, early mistakes in choosing your co founders or even early employees are damn hard to correct. Often, the beginning of a relationship is full of excitements, but when it dissipates, of major rifts take place. They can easily take the whole company down. Thiel says that these days he only invests in startups where the founders share a history and knew each other long before they started pitching each other. Because here it says when we start a company, the foundation should be very strong. Means the co-founders or the investors, we want to know them and their culture and the thought process should be same like us. Otherwise, in the starting, if there is any trouble, that will cost very hardly. That is another thing Thiel says that a clear structure and clear responsibility will help keep people in line in the long run. A basic structure want to tell who owns the company, who is the owner of the company, who runs the company on a daily basis, or who formally control the company's affairs. The author says that distributing ownership in theory gives everyone incentives, but it also multiplies the chances for disalignment and internal power struggles. Keep the board small then. Similarly, everyone should be doing one thing and evaluated for that one thing only. This is the chapter 1. Chapter 9. The chapter 10 is the mechanics of Mafia. Mechanics of Mafia is talking about the group, about a group and a team play of a business firm. This says that in the ideal culture, employees love the company and love their job to the point they don't look at what it's time to go home. The perfect hires are excited specifically to work with your company because of what you are trying to achieve. And they want to join because they are perfectly in sync with the colleagues already working in there. Where everyone perfectly fit and it's brought into the mission, the company will look like a cult. And that's a good thing. Sometimes your company won't make sense to external people, but that's okay. Better to become a cult or even a mafia. The opposite of culture are firms like consulting companies. Consulting companies don't have a mission on their own, and consultants are always rotating in and out of companies they have no link to. Here we can say we want to stay together, and if you are completely synced with the co-workers and all, you never identify the times going and never thinking to go home after work and like that. But the base is we want to form a group in the workplace. The 11th chapter is if you build it, will they come? This is about the marketing. If you make or if you build a product, nobody is going to come and buy based on the product. That means here what he says, the product should be better. At the same time, the sales also important. That is, the Peter Thiel says there is a certain anti-sales mindset in Silicon Valley. The idea, as wrong as it is that if you need to sell a product, the product is not that good. That is the belief what we have. If the sales need required means the product is not so good, but it is not right. The author says that marketing and advertising works and work on everyone, including the people who says it doesn't work. Actually, sales might be matter for more than product. Sales and distribution can create a monopoly, but a great product without strong sales distribution and won't prepare by itself. Viral marketing. A product is viral if the core functionality leads you to invite their friends to also use your product. That is all about the chapter number 11. Chapter number 12 is about man and machine. This is a very small chapter because he very clearly, Peter Thiel says, the debate of man and machine or even machine taking over people's task is a silly one. Computers are complementary to human beings, not substitutes. And the best companies will be built by entrepreneurs empowering people, not taking away their jobs or their tasks. The chapter number 13 is Seeing Green. Chapter number 13, Seeing Green. Peter Thiel talks in this chapter about the failure of the clean tech bubble. He says the reason for the failure is to be researched in 7 key areas every business must address. 7 key areas he's saying every business should be addressed. That is engineering. Can we create breakthrough instead of incremental? That is the main point. We want to make a breakthrough, not incremental growth. The timing is the time to start your business is correct. Monopoly. Are you starting with a big share or a small market? People. Do you have the right team? Distribution. Do you have a way to distribute your products? Durability. Will your market be the defensible 10 years in the future? Secret. Have you identified unique opportunities others don't see? If you nail all the 7, you will grow a monopoly and amass a fortune. Even 5 or 6 might work. You know, very interesting points. At least we have to find out a unique opportunity for our product. Thiel says you should dominate a small market first instead of going for a big one. Big markets are usually competitive, so better build your foundation on a small niche and then go big. Facebook, for example, started with Harvard first and then universities and then the world. Peter Thiel analyzes the tech bubble along these 7 variables and then goes into why Tesla has been successful by nailing those 7 variables. Huge markets are highly competitive, not highly attainable. This is also one point. This is the last chapter, the founder's paradox. They'll talk about how paradoxical founders can be and what a difference they can make to a company. A founder can also become the main figure of the whole companies and in spite of the modern tech they build, come to resemble kings of feudal time who imbibe their companies with their spirit or use their persona for further marketing. Hard to say sometimes. And this chapter is about the founders. It is not so important but interesting. Uh, at last, the chapters are completed and the practical applications in this book. There are many key mindsets. Here, a few to keep in mind. Don't focus on disrupting, it gets you in a uselessly competitive mindset. Pick your co-founder as you pick your husband or wife. Hire people who believe in your mission and fit your culture. Don't look at the size of the overall market. Dominate a niche, then go from there. These are the things I would like to share with you. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you.